Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Get ready for it. Record-breaking holiday travel is expected over the next few days, including here in San Diego. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi, and the busiest period begins tomorrow with an estimated 76,000 people traveling through the San Diego International Airport each day. It's a similar story at airports across the country, and as Brian Abel reports, Mother Nature may throw a wrench in the Thanksgiving rush.
The busiest travel week of the year is here.
What we think will be our busiest Thanksgiving travel period ever.
Roughly 80 million holiday travelers, just as the weather looks to disrupt. A series of storms could bring rain, snow, or chilly conditions as you try to get to family and friends.
Our command center in Virginia has real-time engagement with all of the airlines to find the most efficient, safe path around weather as it occurs.
In the Midwest, a system bringing rain from the Great Lakes to potentially as far as the southeast. Along the West Coast, mountain snow and rain. This system moving to the central U.S. by midweek, then re-strengthening as it heads east, possibly putting a damper on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Another headache for the 31 million passengers Airlines for America estimates will fly this Thanksgiving travel period. A worker strike at one of the nation's busiest airports.
It's hard having kids and have to look them in their eyes and sit there and say, Mommy works a full-time job, but I don't know if we're going to be able to keep a roof over our heads.
At Charlotte's Douglas International Airport, service employees who American Airlines contracts to clean planes and provide wheelchair services, striking over low wages. The strike threatening timely Thanksgiving travel. In Washington, Brian Abel, KPBS News.
Well, tonight we're cooling down to the low 50s once again, staying mostly cloudy. We do have that storm that's been impacting a lot of areas north of us, but not really the San Diego area. I'll break down exactly what to expect for the week ahead coming up.
Special Counsel Jack Smith announced today he's dropping the election interference and classified documents cases against President-elect Donald Trump. Since Trump won the 2024 presidential election, it would have been nearly impossible for the cases to proceed. The Justice Department has a policy against prosecuting a sitting president, and President-elect Trump has said he would fire Smith once he was back in the White House. Air monitoring in the South Bay community of Nestor shows elevated pollution due to the ongoing sewage crisis, and that is according to the San Diego County Air Pollution Control District. An air monitor installed at Berry Elementary School showed elevated levels of hydrogen sulfide, and that is the toxic byproduct of sewage that causes a rotten egg smell. Those who live nearby say they've been dealing with the side effects of poor air quality for years.
Sometimes my lungs burn, I get runny, watery eyes, my nose runs every morning continuously.
And I smell it all the time, and the eyes are burning. I mean, the Visine, it's unacceptable.
More information is available at the county's Air Pollution Control District website. It includes information on current air quality searchable by zip code. Residents of an affordable RV community in Vista have less than a week to move out or face legal action. The property will soon be managed by an organization that helps the homeless. KPBS North County reporter Tanya Thorne talked to residents who say the change may make them homeless.
For years, the RV park at Green Oak Ranch in Vista has filled an affordable housing need for many families.
I paid $20,000 for the house. My rent is $1,000, but because I work at the gate, they take $200 off a month, which is $200, and I pay $800 a month.
Hubert Reed Jr. has been living at the park for almost 9 years with his family in a tiny house that was already on the property.
Man, I've been in California 38 years. I have never lived anywhere like this.
Reed has to find a new space by December 1st, but his tiny house is now a challenge.
Because of the height, no mobile home park wants it. They don't want, it's too high. So it has to be moved to private property. It costs anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 just to move it.
When we first visited Green Oak Ranch last summer, over 30 families lived in the RV community. In July, the nonprofit Solutions for Change was chosen to take the property over in a lease-to-own deal. That takeover doesn't happen until January 1st, but eviction notices have already gone out.
And it's just kind of wild that they want me to really just get out and be gone by December 1st. If I can sell my house, I would have the money to go where I want it.
Laundry facilities and some other amenities have already been removed from the park. Reed and other residents are pondering their next move.
What the heck? What the heck? Yeah.
Why? What's the rush?
Finding us puzzled.
We're not homeless. I work for the ranch right now.
Finding affordable housing hasn't been easy. And for many, a new RV park is out of the question because their rigs are too old. Many communities do not accept RVs 10 years or older. Karen Allison has one of those older RVs. She says they've been given leads to resources, but because they're not currently homeless, those leads have gone nowhere.
So he's like, I'm supposed to wait until I'm in my car
with your kids
and then call you, because then you can help me. If I'm calling now and I still have housing, yeah, I'm still fine now, but this is running out like sand through the hourglass.
Allison and her family have experienced homelessness before.
I'm trying to go from one stable setting into the next to not dip again into the living in a tent with my kids. They can't help you until you're absolutely under the bridge.
She fears this displacement is forcing many of the families into the welfare system for the first time. The RV park is on land that has been leased by Green Oak Ministries for 70 years. The ministry has managed a men's rehab program and recreational camps, as well as the RV park.
This is a delicate ecosystem, the way we, the camps and the ministry interlock and fund each other or need each other. That was Ari's baby. And when he passed away, the only person who had that vision passed away.
Ari DeJong was the owner of the land. He died in 2023, and management of the land was passed to a land board which terminated the ministry's lease. The lease is getting passed on to another nonprofit. Solutions for Change says they will expand their program for homeless families on the property. They say their future plans for the ranch look bright, but the RV park isn't something they could take on. In the meantime, Reed and the remaining residents of the RV park are left figuring their next move.
And the way they've turned on this, it hurts. I was so for them, and it's like everything is about them now, or the business. And I'm like, what about all these people that's been here that we've ate so many Thanksgiving dinners together? I know all her kids' name, and it's like we don't matter anymore.
The eviction has raised questions about the legality of the park, and now the city of Vista is stepping in to help. More on that tomorrow. Tanya Thorne, KPBS News.
Well, the Imperial Beach Pier is expected to reopen permanently and just in time for the holidays. The pier was closed for 2 weeks and closed back down again today for a few more days, but the Port of San Diego says maintenance crews are on track to finish upgrades by Thanksgiving Day. It was welcome news to some beachgoers our media partner KGTV spoke to over the weekend.
We took a drive to IB on the right day because the whole time we were here, we were talking about how bummed we are about OB Pier because we live in OB and we can't go on our pier anymore.
Caught a stingray, 1 fish, a crab, or 2 fish and a crab.
And after Thanksgiving Day, the utility piping work is expected to continue into 2025, but will not cause any further closures of the pier. It's well known that the water off of our coast is a nursery for juvenile white sharks, but until now, scientists haven't known how long those baby sharks stay in the nursery. KPBS North County reporter Alexander Wynn says a new study sheds some light on that.
The beaches off the coast of La Jolla are prime swimming and surfing spots. And it's not unusual to see dolphins or the occasional shark.
I think it's really cool to see all the sharks during the season, like in the waves.
Research shows most people aren't aware that they're swimming and surfing next to sharks, especially in places like Del Mar. But attacks are rare.
So whether they're here or not, you kind of make that choice when you get in the water. So if the water feels good and the waves are good, you want to surf and swim.
The waters off San Diego are well-known nurseries for great white sharks.
What is less clear is when do they actually make the transition to those adult habitats.
Ryan Logan is a postdoctoral researcher at the Shark Lab at Cal State Long Beach. They've been using acoustic telemetry to track juvenile white sharks for over a decade.
We're actually, for the first time, able to see when an individual shark moves from the nursery habitat, when they don't come back to the nursery habitat, to when they move to the adult habitat. And that happens right at about the 9 to 10 foot range, which would correspond to about a 4 to 5 year old shark.
What this study shows is that when baby great whites become teenage sharks, so to speak, they venture into deeper waters, and that's a good thing for swimmers and surfers.
When they get to that 9 to 10 foot range is when they start to transition into feeding on marine mammals, sea lions, seals, harbor seals, things like that.
Logan says that's also when they start leaving the most populated beaches.
I think it's just a beautiful thing that the sharks come here and then they leave once they're ready.
Logan says knowing how long great white sharks use the nursery will aid scientists in future conservation plans for this population of white sharks and ultimately the species. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
I'm William Brangham. Tonight on the NewsHour, the people being tasked with implementing Trump's economic agenda, coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
There's a statewide recall for a brand of raw milk after bird flu was detected in a sample. The California Department of Public Health says the manufacturer is Raw Farm LLC, which is based in Fresno County. The packaging has the lot code that you can see on your screen and a best buy date of 11/27/2024. Both of those numbers are printed on the packaging. No illnesses have been reported. Stores are being told to pull the product from the shelves, and customers are being told to return the product if they have it in their home. It's deemed an urgent global public health threat by U.S. officials. Antimicrobial resistance happens when germs no longer respond to drugs designed to kill them, making it harder and sometimes impossible to treat infections. Mandy Gaither has more on what you need to know and how to help prevent infections that can put you at risk.
It's a growing threat. In the U.S., more than 2.8 million antimicrobial resistant infections happen every year, killing more than 35,000 people, according to a 2019 CDC report.
It's this growing progression of antimicrobial resistance that makes it one of the greatest global health issues of modern time.
Dawn Sievert with the CDC says to fight this threat, antibiotic and antifungal prescribing and use needs to improve. The agency says families should also take steps to reduce risk and help stop the germs from spreading. Keep cuts clean and covered until healed. Take good care of chronic conditions like diabetes or heart disease. Keep hands clean and get vaccinated. The CDC says vaccines help prevent infections, including ones that are resistant.
The modern travel of people, animals, and goods, antimicrobial resistance can easily spread.
Sievert says the phenomenon also has the potential to affect anyone, regardless of age and health status, and can complicate nearly every health problem a person faces, since advances in modern medicine depend greatly on antibiotics being effective. She says it can put certain surgeries, like cancer therapy, at risk.
Patients requiring these procedures and treatments are at significant risk for infection, but they might not be able to receive the needed care if antibiotics are not available.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Governor Gavin Newsom is doubling down on the push to get more electric vehicles on California roads. Newsom announced today that if the incoming Trump administration eliminates the $7,500 federal EV tax credit, California would step in. Newsom says he'll propose a new version of the Clean Vehicle Rebate Program, which phased out in 2023. California has surpassed 2 million zero-emission vehicles sold. Meantime, there's a little change to gas prices across San Diego County. ready to start the week. The average price of a gallon of regular gas dropped 1/10 cent to $4.53. The average price is nearly 10 cents lower than it was a month ago and 51 cents less than a year ago. The average price for gas nationally is $3.06. Plants use photosynthesis to survive, making oxygen and food in the process, but not all plants do it in the same way. KPBS SciTech reporter Thomas Fudge spoke to researchers who are trying to make it work better for plants that are key to our survival.
Joseph Swift is a molecular biologist at the Salk Institute who shows me a greenhouse full of plants that use a photosynthesis called C4. Plants like that are better suited to thrive in dry and hot temperatures.
And because climate change is going to expand the number of environments that are dry as well as high in temperature, that's why this research is so important.
Swift was co-author of a paper that examined how those hardy C4 plants evolved millions of years ago. The study offered the promise that gene editing available today could give many more plants that same kind of resilient, efficient photosynthesis. Today, the vast majority of plants still use the ancient form of photosynthesis called C3. They include soybeans and some other very well-known crops.
Plants like rice, soybean, and other crop species.
What about wheat?
Wheat is a C3 plant, and it would be an interesting target to convert to C4.
Joe Ecker, the senior author of the paper published in Nature, says converting a plant like rice from C3 to C4 is the ultimate goal. Like wheat, rice is another target for conversion. It is the #2 crop in the world. Corn, a C4 plant, is #1.
So if we were to be able to engineer a rice plant to be C4 plant, we could increase its efficiency for photosynthesis and yield by 50%.
The increased efficiency and drought tolerance of C4 is due to its ability to correct some problems with C3. In C3 plants, for instance, carbon dioxide is too often mixed with oxygen during photosynthesis, and that wastes energy. Converting C3 plants to C4 in the lab will be difficult, and it could require 20 years. Also, the expectation of higher crop yields is just that, an expectation, not a certainty. But Ecker says another expectation, nearly 10 billion people on Earth by 2050, means we need to figure out a way to help plants produce more food.
That's really the goal here, is to take a plant that that is has a worldwide importance and increase the grain yields so that we have a population that can be fed.
Thomas Fudge, KPBS News.
One of the longest droughts to hit California started in 1986, and it lasted 6 years. It led to an idea from the Helix and Otay water districts, a garden that would showcase ways to save water. Well, 25 years later, KPBS reporter John Carroll visited the garden to see how it's doing.
As soon as you walk through the gate of the Water Conservation Garden, you know you're somewhere special. A serene, sensory experience of smell, sound, and sight. Set on 6 acres of rolling hills adjacent to Cuyamaca Community College in El Cajon, the garden is immediately inviting you to immerse yourself in the horticultural beauty of Southern California.
It's very peaceful, and we have regulars that come here every day. They walk their dogs because we're dog friendly. We love it when people bring their pets. We have wellness classes here Tuesday through Thursday.
Over the years, other regional water districts, including the San Diego County Water Authority, have joined Helix and Otay in supporting the garden. As much as the Water Conservation Garden is about beauty, it's also about knowledge and knowing what kinds of plants work best in our Southern California climate. Here we have an average backyard and our forlorn-looking gardener there. It uses an average of 28,000 gallons of water per year. And then there's this backyard garden, the same size as the other one, arguably much better looking and much better when it comes to conserving water. This one only uses about 6,000 gallons of water per year.
San Diego and Southern California have become like one of the pinnacles when it comes to saving water, and we're really proud of it because of places like this and our education programs and our workshops. And the other thing is people can come here to the garden and get rebate information from every single water district.
The districts give most of the money to operate the garden, but members also offer some support. One of them, Ashley Albert, was here with her 5-year-old son, Jaden. It was Jaden's first visit, and it was memorable.
What did you like the best?
Watching the butterfly hat.
Watching the butterfly. Did you also like when you got to press the little buttons that squirted water out?
Yeah.
We have a volunteer-run gift shop, and they make the most beautiful succulents at really, really good prices. But when our membership comes into play, the one great thing about that is that if you're a member of our garden, you get into the Japanese Friendship Garden for free, the San Diego Botanical Garden for free, and about 36 other gardens in California.
In this garden, there are some rather unexpected sights. The Jurassic Trail in the children's area leads you to this, an opportunity to make a little music. And this, a place where the garden does its laundry. It's also a place to learn.
You can take your previous used water from your shower or your washing machine, and you can reuse it to irrigate your landscape.
About 15 minutes east of downtown San Diego in good traffic, the Water Conservation Garden is worth a visit. A place to learn, relax, and simply enjoy the beauty of nature, Southern California style. John Carroll, KPBS News.
Well, looking at what to expect for the week ahead, some of us will see a bit of a cool down, but the main story is the rain and wind from the storm system that moved in starting Sunday evening, not having a lot of impacts for us here in San Diego, though. Let's take a look at this system bringing rain and mountain snow along with some gusty winds and even some localized flooding, especially in areas that already had flooding from some of the storms that have moved through recently. You'll notice, though, not really impacting us here in San Diego. We will see the chance of a few showers as we go into your Tuesday and even a little bit on Wednesday, but nothing widespread like what those north of us are seeing. Tonight, temperatures are going to drop down into the low 40s for Oceanside, 42 there, 51 though for San Diego, 42 for Mount Laguna and Borrego Springs at 49. Tomorrow, we're warming up to 60s and 70s for most of us, 69 in Oceanside, seeing more clouds there, more sunshine as we head further south, 68 for San Diego, 70s for Borrego Springs, and then of course 54 for Mount Laguna there. Let's take a look at what to expect for your 5-day outlook. On the coast, we're seeing temperatures staying mainly around the same area, a few degrees variation here and there, 69 for your Tuesday, cloudy throughout much of the week, but by Saturday, clouds lift a little bit and we warm up to 70 degrees. Further inland, we're seeing a mix of some clouds and even some low clouds that could have some visibility impacts for Wednesday. Something to keep in mind there with that Thanksgiving travel going on. 72 for your Tuesday, bouncing around a little bit, but ending up with 76 by the time we get to your Saturday. Taking a look at your mountain 5-day outlook, 54 degrees for your Tuesday. Just like everywhere else, we're seeing a mix of clouds and sun. Wednesday even dreary, so probably not the ideal day there. 47 by the time we get to Thursday, and then warming up back up to 56 for your Saturday there. The desert, 78 for your Tuesday, cooling down to the low 70s by the time we get to the end of the week, and then evening back out by the time we get to Saturday here, warming up to 74 degrees. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather's Anna Azalian.
Lots of famous people celebrated their 40th birthday this year, including Scarlett Johansson, America Ferrera, Prince Harry, and Mark Zuckerberg. KPBS reporter Melissa May introduces us to a local celebrity who always wears a tuxedo and also just toasted the Big 4-0.
Welcome to the Penguin Encounter here at SeaWorld San Diego. This has been Best Friend's home for the last 35 years. And on his 40th birthday, he was waiting in his special spot to get all that birthday love.
Best Friend got his name because he's one of our sweetest old men in the exhibit.
Zoological specialist of birds, Katie Belnick, has an extra special bond with the birthday bird.
Happy birthday, Best Friend! We love you so much. Every single time you walk into the exhibit, he's there waiting for you. And then when you start talking to him, he just gets so excited, breaks out into his whole display, and he just loves to be loved.
SeaWorld San Diego is home to 300 penguins. Best Friend is the oldest, and like many of us, is a transplant from out of state. He is a macaroni penguin who was hatched in Ohio and came to San Diego in the 90s. Belnick explains why this milestone birthday is such a big deal.
The general lifespan of a penguin, especially of his size and species, it can be anywhere from 8 to 15 years, maybe 15 to 20 years if you're lucky. But of course, him going on 40 is unheard of.
And the team has collected important data throughout Best Friend's life that can help with breeding, improving the future of his species.
We can see the egg intervals when they're laying, how many partners he's had. We can also look at how successful his offspring have been. Like, for example, has his babies had babies and stuff like that. Especially over a long span of time, we get to create more data points.
SeaWorld's penguin encounter is kept around 24 degrees and the water 40 to 45 degrees. There's even special lighting to mimic Antarctica's environment. Constant sunlight from October to February and complete darkness from March to October. Fresh snow is also brought in every morning.
About 4,000 to 6,000 pounds each and every day. So it is a lot of physical labor to kind of take care of all of this. And we also do that, of course, for health reasons. You want to make sure that they're walking on the proper substrate so their feet aren't getting hurt.
Belnick says Best Friend's long life could be thanks to the team's hard work.
All of their needs are met, but they have the best food, the best health care, they have no predators, so they just get to live a life of bliss.
Melissa May, KPBS News.
Absolutely adorable. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.